Hey, and welcome to the newest episode of the Amazon Gold Standard podcast. I'm Robert. I got Enrique with me right here from Breetly. We are an agency where we help Amazon sellers launch and continue their growth and scale. We've managed over 500 million in sales on Amazon and managed over 50 million advertising spend for our clients. You want to go to the next level, you know who to reach out to. www.breetly.com. And today I have with me Hamid Mahmood from Software Pro. He's the founder of Software Pro and actually a couple of other good services. He's able to really help anybody who's in the e-commerce space. This podcast is going to be focused around the seven-figure growth for e-commerce sellers, actually for agencies. I'm going to turn it over to Hamid for a little more detail of what we're going to be speaking about today, and then we'll get into the details. So, by all means, Hamid, you got the floor.
Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much for arranging this call and bringing on to this topic. Last few months, I've been getting a lot of questions about setting up the agencies, and they're having a lot of problems. And when you ask me about setting up the topics, I mentioned about seven-figure e-commerce agency, not even the agency itself. And this concept is actually being improvised, and especially when the COVID happened, a lot of businesses, they moved towards getting everything online and into the e-commerce. So the need for dedicated and niche-based e-commerce agencies is actually involved. And what this means is that if you're running an agency, like a digital agency, but you're more focused towards either providing the support technically for e-commerce platforms, which could have been if your customers are using WooCommerce, Shopify, OpenCart, BigCommerce, Wix, Squarespace, and other platforms. There are about 15 plus platforms which are widely used in the market. Or if your agency is very focused towards helping e-commerce brands, e-commerce merchants and sellers with their growth, with their, let's say, site design, with their digital marketing, with their growth and meeting their objectives, apart from helping and supporting onto the third-party platforms like eBay or Etsy or Amazon. So this topic is going to be more towards if you have a website, which is an e-commerce website, you're selling something on the site, and being an agency, you're supporting that seller to succeed online, right? So we'll be talking about, so I have about actually 30 plus attributes which you could actually go on and follow one by one and ensure that your road and direction towards the seven-figure agency is right on path. But we'll go slow. We'll go one by one, and as we go through the topic, we'll put more light on every little item on it.
Yeah, there's a lot that agencies and sellers need to look at it and pay attention to, and the majority of those topics they probably don't even know about. So having sort of like a checklist and like a guide is very helpful. And you'll be able to, we'll add that into on YouTube. We'll put into the comments. We'll get that out there. If there's any links to your website, we'll be able to add those as well. And so let's get into it. Where would someone start? How would they find an agency if they don't know where to begin themselves to do the work themselves? How would they find you or even a competitor? Regardless of who the service provider is, where would someone start?
Yeah. So my answer to this question is always be do not find any business. Find about yourself first. So if you want to start running an agency and you're not playing on your strength, then I don't think so that moving towards whether an e-commerce agency or having a software development agency, or I've got HTML Pro as a front-end agency. I've got Software Pro as a software development agency. I've got Development NYC as e-commerce development agency. And every agency is being focused towards its own niche. So you have to ask the question to yourself what you're made of. So if you're an medium agency owner, and you want to start an agency, so are you on the background of more on the marketing? Do you really feel comfortable on online marketing side? Or you're more like a tech geek, you're introvert, you don't want to, focus towards the growth of the e-com stores or e-com brand owners. So then in that case, I would suggest that going into focus towards the development side. So we have a lot of platforms, so you could actually become expert in a single platform. Like you could be really an expert. Shopify is an ocean of the knowledge. So you could actually be a great expert on the Shopify. You could actually be an expert in OpenCart, the WooCommerce itself, for every platform on its depth. Or you could be an overall e-com development expert, be it an open source or be it a closed-ended or a hosted platform. So you have to ask the question to yourself first, and then once you recognize yourself, then move towards a niche. So for example, in our case, I had access to a lot of developers offshore. So I was born in Pakistan. I had a huge network in Pakistan for the developers. So I decided to have my company name as Ecom Development because we feel more strength towards it. We have more resources. We have more expertise. So we decided to go towards it. Some companies are really good in marketing, so they could actually focus towards it. Some companies, they are actually very good into the local marketing, so they could focus on a specific area. They could focus on a specific city. They could even focus on a specific niche that they're expert of, and then because e-commerce has multiple niches, like it got fashion, it got electronics, it got lots of other niches you could focus on. You could go on generic. More niches you cover, the more generic you get, the more hassle it's gonna take as well. The benefit of going into the niche is that once you choose a path, once you're not a generic agency, you would have a lot of material to always keep and reserve. And there is a whole topic that we'll cover towards the middle or end of this conversation as well.
So let's say you got your focus, you have your niche, you know what you're good at. You started a company, you have all the people working for you, but now you're going to have to get yourself out there. You're going to have to get yourself known. You're going to have to do some type of marketing, or not only marketing. I mean, even the referrals. I mean, I guess that would be considered marketing, but word of mouth and being able to, whether it's reviews. I mean, you have to let people know that you are high quality, that you do great work. What would be the next step that once you have your niche, where would you go from there? How would you start building up your agency?
Exactly. That's a very good question. Where to start from? So the counting numbers is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not 7, 6, 3, 2, 4. It's not like that, right? So you have to go from the scratch. A lot of people, they actually start talking about penetrating, they start talking about scaling, they start talking about a huge number right at the start of the agency, which is a wrong concept. So just like you're opening up a shop into the mall, you have to rent a space first. You have to put in, all the capital out there for furniture, you have to hire people, you have to probably make some processes, and then build up a name and put your a monogram outside your building or a shop. So similarly, it's about your e-commerce agency as well. So when you have to start your e-commerce agency, once the niche has been decided, once you have answered those questions, start with the basic things. Start with the name. My personal suggestion is that I always keep those technical items or the things into my agencies where I don't have to explain myself. That's how I think, because I have a HTML Pro is my agency, and I never have to sell for HTML.
What do you do? Yeah, they don't know it. Yeah, what you do is in your name. So yeah, definitely picking the right name, explaining what you do without having to go into the details.
Here you go. Exactly. Here you go. Here you go. And then so the first impression is, because when you're sending in future the traffic back to your website, they should not spend a lot of time asking or understanding, or let's say you have a booth into the expo. They don't have to ask you a lot of questions. What do you guys actually do, right? So my philosophy is that your name should be simple enough. Your name should be self-explanatory as much as possible, for a person to understand, for a person to actually start guessing who you are and what you do. That's number one. So once you have decided your name, then just keep in mind that your domain actually explains yourself too. Number two, yes, it has to be branded, and number three, it has to be SEO optimized as well. In maybe later sessions, or maybe in later of this conversation, I'm not sure how much time do we have. A lot of agencies would think that they cannot perform in SEO, which is absolutely wrong concept. It's a myth. And almost every agency which I had, I was able to secure the top 10 figures, the top 10 placement into the search engine as well. You just have to be focused. I understand that there are hundreds and thousands of other agencies which are competing with you actually, but if you go if you follow the basics, just make sure that your basics are 100% optimized from your domain point of view, or from your website point of view, and then you go step by step into the backlinks and all that, you can actually get your agency on top into the search rankings as well. So when we talk about the domain, if you can, then put some keywords into the domain as well. I've seen a lot of agencies, NevadaPlumbing.com, HoustonPlumbing.com, right? And then SEO New York.com, right? So if somebody's searching for SEO company in New York, they will be able to find it. So this is one way of getting traction. This is one way of getting clients easily for your agency. The number two is that if you just want to have like a one word, maybe like a Breetly, you don't want to compromise on actual branding itself, which I understand a lot of agencies would do that. In that case, just make sure that your tagline, your headline is very prominent. In one tagline, you're explaining everything about your company. You're explaining everything about what value do you bring for your customers, right?
Enrique, later on, we're going to have to update the website, all right?
Well, we have a nice slogan. We're all-in-one e-commerce ally. That's what Breetly means. Breetly means ally from Hebrew, or what's the slogan?
There's a story behind the name. We don't need to get into it now. But yeah, I mean, going on your point with SEO, a lot of people skip SEO. I know it's huge. I hear people, scared of SEO. It takes so long. They don't want to spend the money. And then I know that there's like SEO for your entire website. For each page, you can do SEO and tags or whatever it might be. But then I know some people, they only do it for one homepage, or the homepage, or one page on the site to drive traffic there. Going into SEO, what if you can give a little insights for the viewers at home?
Absolutely.
What it means, what it does, and why you would want one over the other.
Absolutely. So just like as I mentioned, that if you're not able to keep your branded keywords, the SEO keywords, then your meta title, your meta description has to be SEO optimized. So for example, you're offering the services of e-commerce in New York or in Tri-State. So then your meta should have mentioned best e-commerce development and marketing, best e-commerce growth agency in New York or in Tri-State. So if someone is searching for your agency, even if like your domain doesn't have that keyword, but at least they can find the keyword in your metas. So that's the basic number one, that your homepage should be self-explanatory, and also if you're targeting a region, then those keywords should be appeared out there. That's number one. Number two is that there should be some area about the description on your homepage. Like if you're just putting an about, so the about should be self-explanatory and you're putting your keyword. So if your keyword is about e-commerce growth, So the e-commerce growth should be in your meta title. Your e-commerce growth should be in your meta description. It should be on your business description. It should be in your about on your homepage as well, right? And then after you have done your metas and putting on the schemas inside, made sure that all tags are optimized as per the keywords. If that's e-commerce growth, so then just make sure that the e-commerce growth art is available to some image, and image is explanatory. Maybe if that's illustration and maybe showing some infographic about e-commerce growth, that's perfect. So make sure that on the homepage is your major focus keywords and your major location focused keyword as well. Number two is that whatever services you provide, there has to be a page for every service you provide, and you actually have to work. So we on an average we have 30 plus pages on our every agency website. So they are they differ from 30 to 50 on average, but at least 30 service pages. So if you are offering services by the platform, so I will include, okay, WordPress development services in New York, WooCommerce development services in New York, Shopify development services in New York, e-commerce growth agency in New York, right? If you're focusing on the niche, so then on an industry, I'm sorry, so then it's gonna be fashion, e-commerce development, and marketing agency. Example, right? And then if you want to focus on the keyword, like on local, so then you can add in the words like in New York or in tri-state or in California or wherever you are performing those services. So
a lot of people that are listening, they're not even going to know what to do, where to do it, where to enter this information. They definitely need a professional who knows what they're doing, knows how to do the research, and knows what to do. They're not going to do it themselves. So, I mean, I definitely, everybody, use Hamid. He knows what he's talking about. He gave me tons of tips when he was up here in the office the other day. I got a whole bunch of swag. He hooked me up with t-shirts. I mean, you know what? I should have worn this today. But look at this. Look how shiny. Nice. Nice stuff, man. Nice stuff. I appreciate it. In regards to SEO, I don't know if you can hear me, but in regards to SEO, every page, that's a lot of content that needs to be written. And I know a lot of people are scared from going down because there's no way to prove the SEO, or maybe there is a way to prove. People feel like, in my opinion, people may think, oh, I hired this SEO guy. I don't know if he's doing good or if it's not doing good. It's a scam. It's fake. SEO is fake. I mean, how would you be able to fight back and let people know just how serious this is? What can you say to people who are like, I don't want to invest in it. It's going to take 6 months, a year, 2 years, who knows? How would you respond to that?
Exactly. So my answer to this question is that just like you go in, when you have to shop around for your t-shirt, probably you'll actually go maybe 2 or 3 shops trying to search what's best for you and trying to actually match what's in your budget and also finding out who's the best provider and who provides the best quality, or maybe finding into the Google Maps about restaurants near you, or maybe salons near you as well. The first thing you're going to do is start finding about their prices, start finding about their reviews. So I think the same thing applies in our niche as well, in our agencies as well, that when you actually have to find an agency, look for the reviews, look for what others are talking about. If that's not available, at least you should be referred. I don't think so that you should go for every unknown email for SEO for anyone who's emailing you or calling you out of the blue.
LinkedIn messages.
Sorry.
All those LinkedIn messages that you get from people. I do this, I do that. Exactly.
I mean, you never know that there could be some really worthy agencies as well, but if you have time, then you actually have to do the due diligence. And the way I actually cracked it out, if I have to find a good partner for ourselves or for our agencies, usually out of 4 or 5 interviews or after working with a few, then you actually get one good partner, right? So it's actually a journey, but I would suggest that Just go on, check the reviews, and see how they have performed for others into the same niche, for maybe if they have performed for other e-commerce agency websites. If they have done, and I think it's the best deal for you. And one thing I've learned is that if someone actually knows, he could be a bit pricey as well, which is fine because you're actually paying for the experience. But to answer that for writing metas and descriptions and content for 30 plus pages or 50 pages, if we talk about being number one agency, if you talk about being top ranked agency in the New York or into the tri-state, we're talking about a lot of effort. You have to compete with your competitors with more effort into the right direction, more hard work, more diligence. And this is how you can actually beat your competitors, by doing the right things and making sure that your basics are right.
So going back to the topic of this podcast, right?
Yeah.
It was the first thing that I know you wanted to mention was how to scale. I don't know if we've touched that. I know we went into like the steps, but I don't think it's how to scale yet. So if you can get into scaling your agency.
Exactly. It's a very interesting topic, and it could be a bit lengthy as well, but I'll try to cut short and make it very summarized as well. How to scale your agency. I'm actually writing my seven-figure agency book as well. It's going to be published soon, and I had a flight. I think I told you I had a flight about 16 hours, and then I kept on writing the book. And in the end, my hands got tired, and the topic of scaling the agency from 1 to 100 took the most of my time. And this is where a lot of agencies actually get stuck as well. That how to enhance the number, how do you actually control? How about like if you are handling 100 plus employees, how to actually control their role, how to actually control their responsibilities, how to control them, how to take the reports out of them. So all of these questions are being answered, but again, you have to go by step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the way I very by the book, and the books are right, trust me. And the books are like the way I did for my agency. So we have about like 100 plus in-house employees. They're based in Pakistan, and then we have a few in New York as well. So the way we grown our agency was every quarter of the agency was well thought. We knew that okay, in these 3 months we have to write SOPs about how to deliver a good project. Right now, the quarter 2 is how to respond back to the customer inquiries, how to make sure that your customer service is always right. But
every step, everything, having an SOP written up can take forever because there's so many steps in of work that you do in an agency. That's why it's not easy to become successful. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, blood, sweat, tears. But this is just the work that's got to be done to really make sure everything's systemized and operations are running smoothly.
Absolutely. You're talking about having a multi-7-figure agency. So having a multi-7-figure agency would mean that you need a whole system as well. I've been working in Fortune 500 companies myself, and I was an employee back in 2012 and 11. And all I saw was the system. The system compliance processes, everyone was being washed under KPIs, under reporting. They had to perform. They had the numbers against every person. They had to report back. They had the set documents for every little step. Even in I used to be like a part of a large customer service organization as well. Every customer question was being mapped out in flowcharts, explaining about everything. So when you talk about having a standardized information of your first employee and your 100th employee, and you want them to deliver the same work, then you have to have a documentation. It cannot be done by simply telling them or being frustrated, oh, you don't deliver good, oh, you're not performing with the quality, oh, you don't know how to talk with the customer. If you know how to talk to the customer, if you know what the standards are, you have to put it down on the paper, step by step, one by one. And this is what we did as well. The first year of the agency, we just focused on writing the processes, documents. And once we had one, like literally 1 year, I was like into the isolation. I didn't go into any events. I didn't go into any public speaking or keynote speaker. All I did was just wrote down everything I knew about agencies or the corporate or running a business or the development or the marketing into the paper, right? And then once I concluded everything, then I started training my team one by one. It took me 2 months for my existing team to to get hands on to be 60% where I wanted them to be. It took me 2 months, back to back, daily meeting, daily trainings, and I transferred all my knowledge to them one by one without even thinking, okay, they could have their own agency as well. They could have their own agency, but then you have to take the risk of scaling. You're taking risk because you want to go big. So I took the risk. I trained them everything, and then after I trained them, I set up the compliance. I hired a couple of guys who were actually making sure that the processes, the documents, they were being followed, right? And they were all, and there was a guy who was responsible for the reporting of their job as well. I was reading a book called Traction, how to get a grip on your business. It's like almost like 250 plus pages book, and it says that if every employee in the organization should have a number. Every employee in the organization should have a number. If that's a sales guy, he should have a number to reach. If that's an implementation team, they need to have a number, and that number could have been customer satisfaction index. That number could be an service level agreement. That number could be a sales. That number could be lead generation as well.
Got you. Do you have another business that does this specifically and helps people put together SOPs, work together with them, with the company to understand more and give them the direction, maybe do the work yourself or just guide them through it?
I'm actually in a process. So I love to go systematically. So everything I know, it has to be documented first. And for me, my book on 7-figure agency is a document, which I'm going to keep as a reference. So in the next quarter, I'm planning to have a consultancy sessions. I'm still doing it, but it's more like friendly sessions with a lot of agencies, maybe my local agencies who know me, or when I become a keynote speaker, a lot of agencies, they contact me. But since I'm into the process of writing the own documents, I'm not promoting it for myself. But the next quarter, I have a plan to properly support and help agencies, especially in the United States and in Pakistan, to make sure that they are performing really good.
So you mentioned something about the different teams that need the numbers and processes and such. One thing I wanted to get into, which when we discussed last week, which is huge, is lead generation as an agency for you to start getting more clients. So if you can go into that, I think everyone at home would
Absolutely. I think that's the very first question about like how to get the business, how to scale your agency. And apart from building a beautiful team, making sure that the processes are great and customer satisfaction is 100%, 99%, eventually you need business to survive. I've actually tested a lot of methods. I've been working in big IT companies as well. And a lot of companies, they were actually going towards the Google AdWords, and they were spending a huge amount of money. You can actually do that, but I think I mentioned you the other day as well. If you have budget to be synced or to be drained out, if you don't care about it, because it's gonna take at least 6 months to 1 year to create a very good funnel into the Google Ads. To first of all start sending the traffic to your website. Number two, your website has to be extremely sexy, conversion optimized. making sure that it has everything that your customer wanted to see. It has a pricing model. It has the good information about every little aspect that you're sending the traffic to. It is mobile. It is mobile optimized. It is fast. It is clean. It is minimalist. Everything that has to be, a conversion optimized checklist. Okay, you send the traffic, and then a lot of people are not going to make a transaction because either they didn't like your pricing model or because they were just window shopping. And then setting up the retargeting funnel and then bringing that traffic maybe back through the Facebook or maybe display ads, the retargeting. And if you're not able to bring them back, then probably run an opt-in campaign onto your site by getting their emails, offering them some, perk about downloading a book, getting their emails, right? Yeah, like a lead magnet. So you get their email. So that's the first step, and then you start getting their emails, and then followed up by email marketing funnel itself. So as soon as you have their emails, or they contacted you for the leads, and you get the permission from them, start an email automation funnel. And that email automation funnel, I personally love Klaviyo. We are an official partner with Klaviyo as well. But you could actually use other platforms. You could use HubSpot, you could use Salesforce, you could use MailChimp, or you could use the Keep as well, the Infusionsoft in the past. So you could create your email newsletters out there and then keep sending them emails until either you get them or they unsubscribe you. Like after every week, every other week, you're sending them some good, email newsletter or email copy about some good practices, things that can add value. And then eventually after 3 months or 6 months, you're going to get some traction and get the response. Do not expect like an e-commerce brand that you're going to get the leads or you're going to get the traction right at the front, right at the first visit on your site as well, right? So this is one way of sending the traffic and then retargeting through emails, retargeting through other display ads or channels. That's number one. Number two is a lot of companies, especially in subcontinent, some over here as well, they rely on using Upwork. I would personally, or maybe a freelancing platform. I personally like Upwork because you get better rates with them, and you find local clients over there. So you could set up your good Upwork profile with some really good reviews and maybe spend your time or maybe your team's time to make a lot of bids and making sure that it's targeted, you have a good portfolio and get the traction and leads from there, and have a closing team always to make sure that they're supporting that lead generation person with all the valid information and start closing it. So that's number two. That has been one of the fastest way of closing sales, the Upwork or a freelancing platform where people are actually coming with the project details and they are finding between different vendors. So if you have a good profile or maybe a top rated profile, it's going to work really good for you. And it actually has worked for us as well. We in-house, we close about 20 plus projects through the Upwork every month for our agency. Number three, and the best method which I personally like is email marketing funnel, which goes through the LinkedIn. So in the past, like I spent almost like 3 to 4 years finding out about the valid source for emails data for customers. Because if you buy a purchase list, if you purchase a list which is like you get it for like $1,000 and get some data out of it, there are high chances that your SMTV is going to be banned or blacklisted because completely unsolicited. There'll be a lot of info emails, a lot of other emails which are maybe not relevant, or you never know that how quality it is unless you test it out. All failed. The best method which I found was using LinkedIn. So buy a Sales Navigator LinkedIn plan. And then depending on the niche, for the first section that we discussed in the initial podcast conversation, depending on the niche that you choose with, find out about the designation of the person that you're looking for. Find a persona. Yes, you have to finalize the persona first. Where your ideal customer lives, what he does, designation, the size of the company, and everything that you know about the persona itself. Just put it into the Sales Navigator, extract the information, and then the emails could be extracted using a couple of platforms. I personally like Apollo and Seamless. They're one of the best platforms, which I've personally used as well. There are a lot of others in the market as well. And the good thing is that by the LinkedIn, you extract their legit emails, their correct emails, because the accuracy level in the LinkedIn is extremely good. I haven't found any better than that. And once you have the list, then you have to find a good email marketing platform, which is good in relating some IPs as well, and probably using Salesforce, or there is a platform called Mailshake as well. You could actually use that, but you have to make sure that there is a whole science that you have to make sure that you have to warm the IP first, create a very good letter inside. Should not be more than 3 to 5 liner. Just keep it simple, lightweighted, without images, without links. Try to set up a meeting and start sending the emails. Start from maybe 200, 300 per day. Warm your IP to 500 and then 1,000, and this could go towards 2,000 plus per email as well. Once you start sending the emails, and once you start getting traction from the leads, you will start getting responses. If your copy is really good and it has the information that your customers could get value from, do not try to close right away. Try to get them onto the call, give them presentation, and give them more about your company, and try to have a video call, not even an audio call or just a phone call. Just try to be face to face. If they're locally in New York, now the COVID has gone better, so you can actually go and meet them onto the first visit, so they have trust on you. But in other case, you could actually have a video call. So once you have a video call and you have a nice presentation to make, try to have a follow-up for the next meeting, which could be a requirement or which could be a possible project, and try to set the date, which could be 1 month or 2 months or 3 months or maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, and then cap that out. Set up another meeting with the customer, and assuming that you got a 1 month time for maybe setting up a Shopify store development, you have a meeting. Now you have a customer who will be talking about the requirements. Take the requirements and then have another meeting after a week or maybe after 2 or 3 days. Give that customer a good report about the things that even he has not mentioned about it. Maybe give them a report about the website and try to impress the customer. And in the third call, give them a pricing model. Try to close in that sale. So the cycle is that you start today and it probably gets closed after 3 months. Do not worry.
Wow, that's a long time. It takes 3 months to close from when you first reach out. That's like the average closing time is 3 months.
B2B lead generation. Again, it's different from having a shop versus a B2B business. You're targeting a business. And it's actually true for other B2B businesses as well. And same for our needs, since we're running an agency. So it could take from 3 months to 6 months as well, and sometimes a year as well. So you need to have really good business development people who are actually following up correctly. And there are some blogs available into the HubSpot for sales follow-up emails as well.
How many this process that you're talking about, a Sales Navigator or an Apollo, how many emails would you say that you're able to collect? Obviously, it all depends on your filters that you set in. But if you have 10 million people that come back on the filters across the whole, U.S. maybe, or whatever region, how many emails can you collect in a week? Anyone who signs up for that service with you?
Yeah. So you actually have a limit out there. So if you're using Seamless, nowadays, I think they are limiting to 1,000 extraction per day per account. If you want to have 2,000, you have to buy another account. If you want 3,000, you have to buy another account. It goes like this. Yeah.
1,000 a day, so you can get up to 7,000 contacts a week.
Exactly.
If whoever's working 7 days a week. But that's huge. That's a ton. These flows got to get built. Everything's got to be perfect.
Yeah, and I've seen absolutely, and I've seen agencies who are following this sequence, and they're sending about 20,000, 30,000 plus emails per day as well, even 50,000 as well. You spend more money, more accounts, and eventually you get more traction. So for me, like it's the best way. You can scale it down. Yeah.
Did you ever hear of ClickFunnels?
Yeah.
The actual website ClickFunnels.
Yeah.
Where with
the landing page.
Grant Cardone. So when I saw that website and I saw the sales page, I watched every video on the website. I was stoked. I was super excited. I loved it. I just wanted to jump up and down. I was like, this is awesome selling tactics. A website versus ClickFunnels, because they are two different things. With the video and how they sell in the process of ClickFunnels from one page to an upsell, a downsell. Have you ever used it? I'm thinking that can be good for your book if you want, maybe give a couple of copies away for free and get them to one of your seminars if you have any.
Yep. So it's a good question. It's actually true for specific products. I would say if you have a unique product, maybe one single product to sell, book is one pager as well. You want to sell one specific service, then one page ClickFunnel is a great deal. First of all, so ClickFunnels would mean that it will actually take you to the whole funnel. And the first funnel could have been getting their email opt-ins, and then they'll be sending newsletters, getting them back to the pages again. So if you're focusing very, very niche on a service or a product, or in my case could be a book, then ClickFunnels is great. But apart from all the good things about ClickFunnels, you lose the benefits of having a complete website where customers can actually go onto the other pages and they can find other relevant information about your site. For example, if you send traffic on a page, on a service page on your website and start running ads, apart from a service page that they have seen, if they want to check a review page, they can actually go to a separate page, right? If they want to check some case studies to see that how you have performed for your past clients, they can actually navigate over there. If they want to see a proper contact information, they can navigate over there. They want to see blogs. So you just actually lose some traction over there, but it has its own pros and cons. It may be true if you're running a Facebook or a Google ads in aggressive approach, where you're saying, hurry up, sign up, download, you get 50% off. It's great for such deals and offers.
I do like that. I know we're coming up on 43 minutes here, almost 45. I wanted to get into whatever specifics anything that we didn't cover yet that are very important. If you wanted to bring it up, I would say now would be the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So apart from being too technical, I've also observed that being a leader is very important as well. If you're not a leader, then eventually you need people to work for you. So apart from all the technical aspects that you need to run an agency, having leadership skills like being charismatic. If you want your employees to perform on certain things, if you're able to do that and give them a charismatic behavior or give them a sample, okay, here is how you do it, right? It's going to be very helpful for your agency, number one. Number two, if you're always being honest with your team, you never lie with your team, you never overpromise, I think it's going to be very helpful as well. And then team management skills, always making sure that there is energy in the team and taking care of their careers as well. Because if you're running an agency and you're just thinking about your dollars, you're not thinking about your peers, essentially it's the people who are going to work for you. And if you don't think about them, they're going to run away. They're going to find another agency to work out. So when you're working with your peers, just think about their success. That's my method as well. I always think that my peers, they should have a better career. Their next year with my agency should be better than the previous year. Their next year into my agency should be better in monetary amounts and in salaries as well, and in benefits and perks as well. And they should actually feel good about the branding of my e-commerce agency or my organization as well. So all those ethical values, I believe, are very mandatory in order to run an agency. If you're not transparent, if you're not honest with your employees, internal or external, people can actually feel that, even if they don't tell you on your face, just because you're the boss, or maybe a client just because they're feeling shy about it. But people can actually get the vibes if you're being honest and if you're not. And trust me, if you're being honest and if you are caring about their money and their business, you're going to get more work for sure and more retainers too.
Well, that's a good perspective. Most people, when they're thinking about a business, it's everything that we mentioned prior to this point. Obviously, like the big companies, the Googles, the eBays, the Walmarts, all of these, there's leadership and culture. And that's really what sets the foundation for the company. And it's, the general public's perception on these companies is all based around that. The companies are built around that. So, yeah, that's a huge one that everybody, seems to not realize. I own the company. You got to listen to me. And that's just it. No,
there we go.
You're going to fail. Yeah.
Yep. And one last thing, that in the end, whenever you start, you should think about having a 10 years plan. So by the book, it says that if you're having an agency, start thinking about 10 years plan. Where do you want your agency to be after 10 years? Where you want your agency to be after 3 years? Where you want your agency to be after 1 year? And then break down all those the plans and milestones into quarterly milestones, and then break them into monthly milestones, and then break them into weekly milestones and take report every week. So your weekly reporting is actually helping you to gain what you want into the next 10 years.
Wow. A lot of work. A lot of work to build a successful company. I'm tired just talking about it.
Oh yeah.
So Hamid, if you don't mind, if you want, to sign off, whatever websites, wherever you want people to find you, your Instagram, whatever, go for it. Let them find you. Let them know, please.
So I've got multiple agency websites. My own website, if you want to know about myself a little bit, so that's hamidthepro.com. It's HAMID, thepro.com. My other agency sites are software developers pro.com. One is htmlpro.net. One is ecomdevelopment.us. I've got one digital SEO and marketing tool, which is called Adweets, ETTVI.com. And I've also developed an e-commerce courses platform, which is called Ecommerce Pro. It's going to be live towards the end of the week, and we are planning to keep the courses for almost every aspect into the e-commerce one by one. And that's going to be live towards the end of the week, and the URL is theecompro.com.
Super exciting. Do you have your own podcast?
I do sometimes, but I've been traveling a lot, so it's been on hold. So I'm here for you.
Just keep on coming on to ours, and you can get on to other people's. When you get back to it, and you're not so busy, because obviously you're running a successful business, and it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that's all I got, people. That's all I got for the day. We're at 50 minutes. I'm Robert. That's Enrique. You want to say something? You got anything to say? Come.
I got a lot of insights from Hamid today. I think it's a lot of great stuff that he's talking about. A lot of different tactics, a lot of different strategies that you need to implement into your business in order to be successful. I know blogs, even a podcast. It's a great way to get your word out there, get known, have your face up in YouTube, have it on LinkedIn, everywhere else you can put it on, so you can get some leads and ultimately get more clients for your business. So all of this stuff we're going to do, we're going to look at our website and hope everyone that's watching can do it as well. everything we learned today.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing we didn't get into, building your businesses on social and getting your name out there. We'll bring you on again next week or the next couple of weeks, and we can take it from there.
Thank you.
So Robert, Enrique from Breetly, until we catch you again on the flip side, www.breetly.com, the Amazon Gold Standard Podcast. Have a good rest of your day. Peace out.
Bye.